Hey everyone, we're on part 2 of the GTX 1060 hybrid build. For part 1, hit the link in the description below. As explained previously, we're doing this because I want to and because I want to see if we can smooth out those frequency spikes with a liquid cooling solution, because we saw some improvement in that department with MSI's Twin Frozr cooler, but not complete improvement in all aspects of performance. Before getting to part 2 of this content where we build it into a liquid cooled product, this coverage is brought to you by MSI and their new GTX 1060 Gaming X, which has the aforementioned Twin Frozr 6 cooler. So here's what we got. We're on hour 1,000,000 of working with this card. I am dying. I am sure Andrew, the cameraman, is also dying, but we're having some fun with it. So this, as revealed in the previous video, is the base plate. Some of the VRM cooling is right here, helping with the MOSFET heat dissipation, which they're covered. So there's one that's not covered right there. These components are part of the VRM. You can see that they've got thermal pads contacting to the heatsink and so forth. We explained all this in the previous video. And this cable right here is the power header that's sticking out. This will be interesting because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this back on there with the liquid cooling solution installed. So if I can't, then this will be super Franken-card build, because that'll just be floating out in the middle of the bench. So here's what we're going to do. I am trying to mount this EVGA cooler. As explained previously, it's got a protrusion there. I previously called an extrusion. Some people with I guess, shop experience corrected me. That is a protrusion of copper sticking out of the cold plate. And this, as explained previously, helps with the thermals because it's helping sink more of that heat. This actually goes in a bit. Inside this thing is a bunch of microfins. The liquid goes through the microfins and wicks away the heat that is effectively collected via conduction by the cold plate. And that's our liquid cooling solution, goes through the radiator, so forth, all that normal stuff. So I think we're going to want to mount this. This is kind of unwieldy. We're going to want to mount this probably the same somewhat stupid way we did with the GTX 1080, which is to have the pumps pointed out that way. And that's just because I think I'm going to be able to work with the frame a bit better. And I think this will fit, but I'm not 100% positive. We'll find out kind of live on camera here. My hope is that I can keep this attached. First, I need to reattach the VRM fan before forgetting that, or I should call it the blower fan since it's not just cooling the VRM. Okay, there it goes. All right, good enough. Let's get that remounted. I got to remember how this went on originally. I don't really care how those stick out right now. Okay. All right, so that is more or less where it should be. These will kind of go in here once we're done. But I don't know. I'm not concerned with that right now. Oops. It looks like we can mount as expected through there. Let me clean this off a little bit more. We're using the thermal paste pre-applied to the cooler here, as we tend to do with liquid cooling products. But if applying your own thermal paste, you can be much more generous with the GPU than with the CPU, so it's really not much of a concern. Where do we want to start with this? So if I mount that now, then I put this on after, will that work? No. This isn't really entirely necessary. It'll certainly help a little with the cooling, but gotta add the other parts in, worry about that in a moment. And then this could it? No, that's not gonna work, but maybe if we take off the other thing. I'm not gonna put that on there. I think I actually could. I think I could disconnect this and get it all together, but I don't know that I really want to. Well, either it goes on or it doesn't, but removing the silver part of the shroud's not going to hurt anything either way, and then putting it back together later, which isn't a problem. So let's just go ahead and take it apart. That was easy. That's kind of neat. Let's just go ahead and reinstall this. That's not going to hurt to do. That's right. So that locks in. I didn't notice this before. This has a tiny groove in it, in the plate, so that this can socket in. kind of see that sockets into the plate, which makes it easier to hold in place. So that's nice. Okay, so it goes like this for sure. I don't remember if this was facing the other way or not. So last time, if you watched the RX 480 and the 1080 hybrid build, I actually drew a diagram on a magnetic project mat where the screws went. This one has a lot more screws, so I just kind of used this and threw it together. Okay, all right, so we've got this thing pretty much rebuilt at this point. And I believe I decided that that has to go like that. And then I socket the cold plate in. But I think I can screw in some of these first. Oh shoot, I gotta do the, all right, this tape. Good enough. That, oh, look at that. Picking up 2 at a time. This is the ideal time, by the way, to drop one of these tiny screws down the tessellated holes in the back. Come on, man. Oh, close call. Of course, we're gonna have to see if the liquid cooler will actually mount when it's like this. If not, I'm gonna have to take it all apart. But I think I can save some of these screws on the backside for after figuring that out. All right, I think that's good enough for us to figure out how things fit. I could even reattach this LED if we wanted to. But you get a whole 1/2 watt, man. That's extra overclocking headroom by getting rid of it. I need this to work. So we're gonna do like, come on, man. Dang it. Come on. I forgot that wasn't secured. Is this going to make contact with the GPU? Oh, nice. Okay, it's actually socketing. That is making direct contact. That's perfect. That looks okay. Well, assuming that this can actually go down, it might be too tall. We gotta like sand off a millimeter. That's so stupid. See if you can see that copper plate in there. See it? Is that okay? Is it working? Oh, you bastard. Okay, some of these are lined up, but not all of them. What's going on here? Dang it. Maybe the base plate will have to go after all. I'm trying to figure out what's happening to prevent contact on all 4 holes simultaneously. It's obviously rocking on the copper plate, I think. Which, as we can tell by the thermal paste contact, it looks like, yeah, so it's definitely getting stuck on that plate. Just gonna take that plate off for now then. That's fine. I would prefer to use it though. 40 millimeters. It seems like it should work. Yeah, it's just not gonna clear it. There shouldn't be any metal shavings, but if there were, they're gone now. Get this thing out again. I think we have to take this out again. I gotta get that out. You can't always get what you want. It's definitely hitting that. You know that level of tired you get where your entire body hurts? God, mother. Okay, so it's taken back apart. What is causing the clearance issue? Is it simply the hold distance? Or, aha. There's your problem, quoting Adam Savage of Mythbusters. The holes are fine. So the issue is, it looks like we could kind of just sand just a little bit. Dang. It's actually leaving a mark on the inside wall, so it's right there. Ooh, kind of tempted to hit it with a hammer. So do we want to file it, or? Okay, gonna put that over there. You're gonna have to deal with the cringe, I apologize. Let's see if that works. That might have actually worked. Dang. And that will make contact. We need to take some off the other side too, I think. Well, that's a pleasant sound. All right, you ready? You have to fight through it. I apologize. Jesus. It's almost clearing it. It's just that bottom bit of clearance because it tapers out to be larger at the bottom. That's pretty good though, but not quite. Try the other side, maybe it won't scream as much. Oh, that's pretty damn good. More has to come off on this side. I think they did this just to stop me. Oh, I think that's basically it. Yep, that's in there. Okay, all right, so, first of all, don't do this. Don't do this at home. Just don't do this. This is bad practice for a million reasons. I probably should have sanded or grinded this outside, but it's dark out, and frankly, we already have the camera and the lights set up. So it was done here. Secondly, metal shavings are everywhere. That is a concern. The PCB, the card are far enough where I'm hoping it's a non-issue for them. What we're gonna do is, don't show them that, man. That's way too close. We're gonna blast this with air. I will probably soak it in something just to be sure. Take the VRM fan off or whatever. Definitely gonna blast it with compressed air for the base plate. This is very well set in there now. The cooler, we're not going to use this one. We're going to use the same model. I'm going to use a different cooler for 2 reasons. One, the thermal paste is a little effed, but 2, because I decided to start testing this while I was working on it without cleaning in between. I am positive there are metal shavings on that thermal paste. I could clean it off. I'm going to play it safe. We will use a different, we'll use the same model, different cooler, different unit, and that should resolve that issue. I wanted to take one apart anyway, so we'll just take this one apart in the future. This will be our model that we dismantle. So I think this will work, but we'll show you in this video. So what we're going to do is break for tonight. I'll clean it off, and then we'll finish putting it together tomorrow. This will all be in one video, so you'll see the whole finished product shortly after this. Okay, so one very long night later, we managed to get this to where it just barely fits the cold plate. I didn't have to take off too much of the metal. We have some B-roll showing the progress. So finished that, took this outside and used anti-static compressed air to blow it off, and then used tape before and after, and then before, again, anti-static air to get any metal shavings off. Really worked hard at the metal shavings because that is the one thing that could actually ruin this whole project, which if it does, whatever, but hopefully it does not ruin the card. So I think we're good. I'm not going to use the cooler I had picked out yesterday, but I do have a clone of it. So we're going to try this again. Might take some force to get this thing socketed fully because it is pretty snug, but it does fit now. So we're, I think, good to go. This project is one of the longest ones we've done for hybrid coolers so far. But I got to remember how all this goes back together too, because it's been a full night. So first of all, definitely going to connect this here, or actually to the pump. Let's do that first. That's got to go through there. Then this will go down here. All right. Unless this one just needs to be worn down like the other one was on the sides, I think it'll work. This one's slightly different size than the other one. Maybe need to figure out a longer screw or something. Okay, so it can work. I think that one actually went in. Cross-threaded. Yep, cross-threaded. I need a different screw. Oh, yeah. Yeah, different screw. Do I have different screws? That can't be right. Yeah, it says use the previously used screws. So do they change their screws? Can you give me that hybrid box? Thank you. Here's some. These are much different. Oh man, that may have been a lot of our problem right there. Oh, that's working. Fuck. Wait to see if it actually works before I address the camera with what we've just discovered. I think it's gonna work. Definitely a tight fit, but is it making contact? Yes, I think so, and we'll find out in testing. If it's not, that's the best I could do because the screw holes are not exactly the same as what we've worked with previously. It's just slightly off, which is causing that kind of angled install. I'm going to reassemble the rest of this thing. Got to plug this in for the VRM fan and the pump, which will both be powered by the board. All right, so that's connected. This will go on here. I could route that under it, but whatever. How is that cable? Okay, is it gonna fit? I think it'll actually kind of work. What? I don't know what that's from. Was that there originally? It looks like the bottom of a screw. That screw's got a lot of stress on it right now. Something's, I think it's the cables. No, it's the pump. Oh, these pump caps can come off. What is blocking me? It's definitely a cable. There we go. And it spins. What do you think? I liked one guy's comment. Some dude was like, "You're so patient, like a true craftsman." It's like, oh man. I feel very bad for like whoever set that guy's impression of what a craftsman is. This ain't it. Do something 6 times like I'm doing right now to see if something will work. I don't think is what a craftsman would do. Someone like Bob Stewart of BS Mods. That's a craftsman. Cool. That doesn't seem right. Yeah. Okay, so there's only one screw that wasn't used, and I know exactly where it goes. I'm not concerned about it because it was for a cosmetic piece that is being secured from 4 other bolts through the top. All right, that is it. That's the 1060 hybrid. Who would have thought this would have been the most difficult one? First of all, EVGA, you're welcome for the free advertising. I don't know if it was worth my pain, but we decided to leave the pump plate on there, took the faceplate of the shroud of the GPU on and off like 4 times. We took it off originally, looked kind of cool. For clearance reasons, we did take it off, but then put it back on. Let's just pretend that that's socketing correctly. I don't want to take off 4 more bolts right now, so we'll just pretend that everything's perfect. So that is the GTX 1060 hybrid. I think it probably still works. The last 2 have still worked after we've done these. The difference here is we filed the crap out of the base plate to make it fit. So the past 2 mods, as many of you have pointed out, we did not elect to use the base plate that came with the card, either because we were using something else like one of these kits that has its own cooling solution or whatever. But in this case, I did decide to use it. It was effort. I think the pump is making contact, the cold plate's making contact with the GPU itself. I'm pretty sure that's happening. We'll know instantly. It does look like it though after making those changes. And then what else did we change? That's really that's the main part of it. So the only concern is if there's a metal shaving left somewhere that happens to bridge something and make contact. But I did actually legitimately spend a good amount of time cleaning this with tape and compressed air. So I hope we got all those. Everything's plugged in. All that's left, I guess, we'll just do this right now, is to connect these 2 pieces for the radiator fan. If I want to later, I can plug that into the board to get an extra couple watts. But that's it. That's it. We're done. So That's the 1060 hybrid. Subscribe so you can see the final part where we'll have the numbers, performance metrics, and all that, assuming it still works, or the part where I throw it in the garbage. But thank you for watching. Patreon link in the postal video if you want to help fund more videos like this, because they take a lot of time and are surprisingly expensive to do. I'll see you all next time.